Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Bet Rivers Network, brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila, as always, is brought to you by those who drink it. All right, we'll come back tonight later with the completion of the Yankee game. The Yankees right now have a lead in the fifth inning, a 2-0 lead to be exact. But congratulations to Met fans everywhere. And this magical mystery tour continues, as now it will be California bound, and the Mets are on their way to the National League Championship Series, as they have put the Phillies away and won the series in 4 games. Diaz had at least give you a reason to not take anything for granted in the ninth inning by walking the first 2 guys and scaring the heck out of the ballpark. But he came back to strike out Schwarber, who he owns, to end the game. And the Mets, thanks to a Lindor grand slammer, are on their way to the NLCS in this very unlikely season. It continues. Now, let's be honest, the better team won. The Mets were the better team in this series. They had the better lineup. They had the deeper lineup. They got contributions from more players. The bottom of the Philly lineup was a disaster. The Philly bullpen, which got a lot of praise, was an absolute nightmare. And that's why you can't even get on the Phillies too much for how they handled the inning where Lindor hit the grand knee, because where were they going? They had no answers in that bullpen. Where were they going? They stayed with Hoffman, even though he threw 2 wild pitches and hit a batter in the inning, and he's still in the game, walking people. So you had to finally go get him. You go get him, and Estevez throws a fastball to Lindor, and he continues his amazing season, and it has been nothing short of an amazing season. Hits the grand slammer, and the Mets are now on their way, with a couple of days of well-deserved rest thrown in, to play in an NLCS against a good team. I think it's going to be San Diego, and I think San Diego's the better team right now. As of last night, San Diego was the favorite to win the World Series, and deservedly so. They're playing very well right now. But you can make a case right now that San Diego and the Mets are playing better than everybody else. So these teams, if San Diego does beat the Dodgers, if not, obviously the Dodgers would be a formidable opponent. Either one will be. But the Mets deserve to be there, and they have a legitimate chance not only to go to the World Series, but to win the World Series with this team, as they continue to get contribution after contribution. I mean, their starting pitching night after night comes through. Look what Peterson has done. I mean, look what Peterson did tonight. And then Diaz, who hasn't been overwhelming, but he's been good enough. You're still going to worry about the Mets in the 7th and 8th inning, but you know what? You're going to worry about any team in the bullpen in the 7th and 8th inning in big games. It's just the nature of the beast in the postseason. But give the Mets credit, led by Lindor, with assists from Alonso and Nimmo and Vientos, and on and on and on. The one thing tonight, early on, with the Mets having so many opportunities right off the bat in the first inning, bases loaded, after the Pete overturn at first base. And Iglesias has done it so many times. Plus, he's 6 for 8 against them. So you figure in, oh, this is going to be a big spot. Well, he struck out on curveballs. It wasn't his night tonight. It was somebody else's night. It's always somebody else's night for the Mets. That's what you like about this team, is because everybody on that roster has a role. Everybody on that roster contributes, and they have depth. And right now, they believe they're cohesive. They believe, and they've earned this. This is not fluky. It really isn't. This is not anything that isn't justified. I thought they would. I thought they had every chance to beat the Phillies. I even thought if they lost today, they could still go to Philly and win that game. Nothing would surprise me with this team, because I figured Hey, if you get Wheeler, even if he pitches 6 great innings or 7 great innings, the bullpen's been so atrocious, the Mets could win there either. But everything is going right now. And to me, they were the better team in this series. I don't think there's any question about it. They were the stronger team from the start. Absolutely. And deserved to win it. They are right now a very formidable lineup. They are a very formidable team, and they deserve where they are. They're not lucky. They're not on some kind of roll that doesn't make any sense. They're not doing it with mirrors. They're doing it with contributions top to bottom. They're doing it with sound starting pitching. They're doing it with so many different contributions that it's become, just part and parcel of who they are. It has become an incredible, incredible season. From the moment, I don't want to say in the Braves because, that game was so good and so dramatic, but I think they would have won the second game if they had lost the first. And we didn't know anything about Sale, or what his status was going into that doubleheader. But getting the Alonso home run in a place that has been such a house of horrors like Milwaukee, and they beat a really good club in Milwaukee. It was a good baseball team, a sound baseball team, a solid baseball team. And to win that series the way they did, hey, anything is possible. I think I'm kind of hoping it's the Mets and San Diego because I think they're both playing baseball on a very high level right now, and that will be exciting. We are getting now. Let's let this Yankee series unfold. Let's see where it is after tonight, after tomorrow, etc. But we are getting eerily close to talk of a Subway series. Now, it's funny. I'll save this for another day, but somewhere along the way, I will tell you that I had always hoped, and you've probably heard me say this sometime through the years, I had always hoped for a Subway series. We all had. We wanted to live what New York lived in the 50s, where you had the Dodgers and the Giants, and the Survivor played the Yankees so many times. And neighborhood versus neighborhood, and, brother versus brother, and relative versus relative, and friend versus friend. But I can tell you, there was no more disappointing big event in the 20 years that we did Mike and the Mad Dog than that Subway series in 2000. It did not captivate the city the way I thought it would. It did not captivate the nation in any way. Um, the Yankees found it a chore because George put so much pressure on them that they found it a thankless task as they tried to win yet another World Series. Uh, they couldn't enjoy it because the idea of losing to the Mets would have been so not only distasteful, just so unpleasant from a standpoint of their futures. They didn't want any part of it. Um, they ran and hid, the Yankees did, and left the Mets to do all the interviews, which ticked the Mets off to no end. The Yankees did not make themselves very approachable for the general media. There were so many things. Uh, People acting crazy, people in bad moods. I mean, so I don't know if it happens this time. First of all, I think the Yankees are in a very different place. Clearly, they're not who they were in 2000. And just getting to a World Series and having a chance to win a World Series after not being in the World Series so long would be such a positive thing for them that I think they would approach this differently. I think ownership would approach it differently. I think the team and the stars would approach it differently. So this time it might be what we had hoped for. last time, because last time it was such an uneven approach to the World Series, and there was such an imbalance between the two squads. One was this dynasty on the back end of having just lived in the World Series year after year after year and won the World Series year after year after year. They were jaded. There was no question. It had become their birthright and just didn't live up to that. Now, again, we're not there yet. We're far from being there. Okay. The Yankees are a long way from winning this series yet. And the Mets have a very big opponent to climb through to get to the World Series. But maybe if it does happen, if that dream does come true, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who would love to live that, and I understand why. Maybe this time would be a far different experience. I would be viewing it from a very different place than I would have been when I was doing afternoon drive on the fan. But I think there's a lot of reasons why it would be very different this time. But back to the Mets, and we can sit here and throw bouquets and continue to praise, but hey, they are on a journey right now, and they're halfway there. A journey to make the playoffs, check. To win around, check. Now to play in the NLCS, check. Now one step from something that seems impossible in the early part of this season, a trip to the World Series. That is what is in front of this team, which has gone on such a special role and got such an incredible season from Lindor. He's had a remarkable season. I mean, we've had some remarkable baseball seasons in this town and in this year. Judge's year, and despite the fact he's having this very poor showing so far in the postseason. Judge's year, Soto's year, Lindor's year. To see those kinds of seasons in New York, day in, day out, at bat, after at bat, is something I hope everyone is getting a chance to experience and realizing it's not something you get to see every day. These are special performances that should be cherished and should be praised for what they really are, which are unique. As we sit here, the Royals have tied the Yankees up 2-2, so the Yankees have to roll up their sleeves before they even take a lead in this series. We will be back after the Yankees complete this game tonight, win or lose. For you Met fans right now, hey, nothing but, you know what? Nothing but what Al McGuire used to call seashells and balloons right now. It's all sunshine and, happiness, and it should be. Take a couple of days just to enjoy this before you think about, you know, what the next mission is, because you don't even have your opponent yet. You can sit back tonight, later on, watch the Dodgers and the Padres. I know a lot of the older fans probably would like to play the Dodgers because they're the Dodgers. And the Dodgers hold a special place in a lot of hearts in the metropolitan area. I, for one, like a lot of things I've seen from the Padres, and I think both they and the Mets are playing extremely good baseball right now. And that would be an incredibly interesting series on a lot of levels. So either way, Mets Dodgers, you could never short sell. Mets Padres will be a tremendous series, East West, no matter what. So you're going to have a very compelling NLCS, and now you have a couple of days just to sit back and, hey, if you want to give the Yankees a little grief and Yankee fans a little grief as they try to win their way into the ALCS, go ahead. You've earned that. So congratulations to you Met fans. You've earned that. Enjoy this. We'll see you later.